Someone once said, "I've never had bullets fly by my head, but I've experienced freedom because of men who did. Forever thankful to every veteran's sacrifice." This is Vets and Coffee, the podcast. Finally, a podcast 100% about veterans. Looking at veterans making a difference in the veterans community. We'll help veterans, and we'll spotlight veteran-owned businesses and businesses that support and hire veterans. Plus, guzzle down some amazing coffee. Welcome to Vets and Coffee, the podcast. Now your host, Tree McLean.
Good morning. How we doing today? Hey, I've been looking forward to this episode. I've got a U.S. Marine veteran, Corinne Mako. Did I say it all right?
My mom calls me that, but I go by Corinne. That's okay. Either way works.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. Look at all the boots you got there. I guess you're a fan of boots, huh?
It's my boot room.
Your boot room. So you're hiding in a closet right now, huh?
No, it's actually a room, a bedroom.
Okay.
And I turned into my boot room. So
You have that many pairs of boots.
I do. And I had the spare room. My boys are both in the Marines now. So
Yeah, I was looking through your social media page. I've seen these two young gentlemen that look like Marines, and I'm like, yeah. So you got two sons, both Marines.
yes, I do. 21 and 24. My oldest was actually born on Cherry Point, North Carolina. So he was born to be a Marine.
Wow. Is his father Marine as well?
He was, yes.
Yeah. So that is really awesome. So how long have they been serving now?
Well, my oldest just actually got out. He's going to college soon. So he did 4 years. He'll be going to college and back in California for film study. And my youngest just reenlisted and is going to Okinawa. So he's in California right now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah. You know where on Okinawa he's going?
He doesn't know yet.
Okay.
He does not know yet. He's a CBRN, so he's chemical, biological, radiological, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Did you ever go to Okinawa yourself?
Actually, I did. Okinawa was my first choice of duty station out of school, and I got it. That was back in 95. And it was the best year of the 4 in the Marine Corps. I learned a lot. I was I was a 3521, so I was in a motor T mechanic shop, and I really learned a lot over there. And I also had fun. Learned to scuba dive, hiking, a whole bunch of things we did there. Was a great time.
I would love to visit there. I have a great uncle that was KIA on WW2 on Sugarloaf Hill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and here he is right here, Lieutenant Kenneth Foster, and now it's called Camp Foster.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's not related to that. It just so happens that a PFC William Foster in his platoon jumped on a grenade and saved 6 Marines.
Wow.
Yeah, but I found that out doing my ancestry and so forth about him, and then William Foster and so forth, because I was like, "Whoa, wait a second, this is cool. What's the deal here?" Yeah. But that is so neat. Yeah. But how long did you serve in the Marine Corps?
I did 4 years. I went in 1994, and then I got out in 98. I graduated high school in 91. I waited a couple of years. I was actually a flight attendant before I went into the Marine Corps, and I was bored one day on a flight and saw a couple different servicemen and decided today that's what I'm going to do. My whole family, my dad was a Vietnam Army airborne veteran. My brother was in the Army. My uncle was in the Army. My grandfather was a World War II fighter pilot. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I need some adventure. I need to get out of here. And so I went to the recruiting office on a Sunday afternoon in my flight attendant uniform. And it was like a square building in Schaumburg, Illinois. And I remember I said, well, I'll try the Army first since, my dad, my brother knocked on the door. They were closed. So I was like, well, my grandfather was in the Air Force. Let's try that. Knocked on the door. They were closed. And then I said, well, okay, I'll try the Navy. They were closed. And then I said, well, I was always a lifeguard and a swimmer. Let's try the Coast Guard. They were closed. the Marines were open. That's how I chose the Marine Corps, because they were open that day. I went in, their spiel, did the flex arm hang on the bar, and I said, I want to join. I want to be a mechanic, because my dad always taught me to, before I could drive my first car, I had to be able to learn how to fix it, to not be a helpless female, he said. So, and I enjoyed it. So I said, I want to go in, guarantee mechanic. I want to leave as soon as possible. I left a week later. So.
Wow, that's something. My best friend is a Marine Corps. He's a sergeant with the Houston Police Department right now too. And I went federal law enforcement, but he joined the Marine Corps, and I was going to join the Marine Corps as well. And I got there, and the recruiter said, "Well, you ready to sign up?" I said, "Yeah, I want to get into aviation." He said, "Well, that's fine, but you're going to be a grunt first." I said, "What?" I said, "No, I want to be aviation. I want to work on a helicopter." She said, "No, you got to go infantry first, and then we'll go on." I said, "Well, I think I'll hold off. I'm going to go in the Army because they'll take me on in aviation right away."
Right.
That's why I went in the Army and so forth instead of the Marine Corps. But it was fun. It was a good time.
I knew I needed something different. I needed to get out of where I was. I was never really college bound, didn't really care for it, and always wanted some sort of adventure, though. That's why I was a flight attendant, but that really wasn't all what it was cracked up to be. And I said, I want something more. And so I did it, and it actually gave me a lot for future life, to be independent and strong and get through a lot of stuff that I had gotten through. And it did a lot for me. So it gave me confidence that I needed. And I have no regrets other than getting out. I didn't want to get out. But I did what a lot of Marines did back in the 90s. You go to your first duty station, you fall in love, you get married. So I did, though. I got married, and then when I got out, we were about to have our first child. Mm-hmm. And so I got out, he stayed in, and then shortly after that we divorced. So the typical Marine story. Marine marries Marine young, and but
out of 28 episodes on Best in Coffee, the podcast, you're my second female Marine that was a flight attendant.
Really?
I mean, is that hard to believe? I mean, out of 27 episodes, 2 female Marines, both flight attendants before going to the Marine Corps.
It just wasn't enough adventure as we thought it was.
Yeah.
And had I known now what I know then, all that, I would have joined a different branch to travel more, because in the Marines it was either East Coast, West Coast, or overseas, which was great. Loved my time in the Marine Corps. Very proud. And like I said, no regrets. I learned a lot, and I loved every minute of it.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, Carol Lita, her husband's a veteran court judge in the Harris County system. In the Harris County, we have veterans court just for veterans to go through misdemeanors or felonies. And Jason Long, her husband, is a felony court judge for veterans. And then in the Harris County Jail, they actually have pods. They have 2 pods just for veterans.
Wow.
And they're run by veterans. It's run like a military base and so forth. And they, making their beds and everything. And it's all military only. And Carol's husband's involved in that. Carol's a realtor in Kingwood, Texas. And then she runs a fundraiser with some every year, not a fundraiser, but an event for veterans called Rally Point.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. And last year was an awesome success with them. They had up in Kingwood. And I was actually at school that day with Bailey, my service dog. And we left school and hauled ass over to the Rally Point. And I had some guys from one of the local camps that helped me out with one of the PTSD camps helped me unload and set up and everything. But it was a great event. And but I always compliment Carol about that event. But I'll have to get y'all hooked up with them as well for next time.
Yeah, there's so much more now than when like you and I were in back then. There wasn't transition assistance. There wasn't any guidance. Heck, when I was teasing my son when he was deployed to Okinawa last year, he's FaceTiming me, calling me. I'm like, we didn't even have cell phones in the early 90s. There was no social media. There was no, contact with the outside world. It was, and the transition was, here you go, you're done. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
There was no assistance. You had to, figure it out. But I do believe the discipline that we had in the military helped me take that next step on my own. So, and just, keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
But now my son just got out and his transition was incredible. He had a whole month of classes, how to fill out a resume, where to go to get your VA benefits for school, where to go, everything. They basically taught him everything that he needed to know to get out and take the next steps. So, and to find those resources now, you can Google anything now.
Yeah. And there's so many, and Texas being the number 2 state as far as veteran population, there is so many veteran service organizations out there to help out guys and everything, and girls. And I mean, like even women, I know 3 or 4 organizations alone just that work with women only. We've got Camp Shield here in Houston, run by Air Force veteran Maggie Peterson. And I mean, they just got back from going on a cruise, and they took a bunch of women on a cruise and so forth, But
yeah,
great work. Huh?
Well, I don't know if we started a foundation a little over a year ago. We have 3C now, and part of that is we've done classes for transitioning military members that are around here, like Fort Sam, all the bases around here that are transitioning. We've had them come to our headquarters and give classes on, have people speak on, transitioning and what to do and where to go and how to find jobs. And so our mission with that is to help veterans, as well as right now we're doing food insecurities for E5 and below. So a lot of E5 and below with family members in the military, we know the pay isn't the greatest and they're having trouble getting, everything they need for their families. So we've done what's called deployments, where we get together all these items, goods, foods, diapers, wipes, and we have the people come, and the military members come, and kind of like a drive-through, they go by and get bags of whatever they need. So we're trying to expand that with our foundation as well.
That's great. And what's the name of that foundation?
It's the Grunt Style Foundation.
That's Grunt Style Foundation.
Yep.
Okay.
GruntStyleFoundation.com. You can find it on our website. Whatever they Style Foundation.
That's great. I just did a test real quick on my phone to make sure we were live, because my chat's not working on my. Usually I can bring up chat and people can talk to us and so forth, and for some reason it's not working this morning. I don't know why, but usually I have people that are chiming in on chat and so forth from LinkedIn and Facebook. Yeah. So what else is new with Grunt Style?
Well, we opened, by the end of this year, we'll have opened 16 retail stores across the country. And that's pretty big.
It is.
Pretty quick.
Yeah, it is.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. I saw pictures of one y'all opened up somewhere over there around the San Antonio area.
Yes, that's our headquarters. So we're down on 9th and Broadway is where our headquarters is. And then downstairs is that was our first retail store.
Mm-hmm. That's neat. So how many do you have in Texas?
Well, we have El Paso, Fort Sam, San Antonio. I believe we're opening Fort Hood. There's a whole list on our website. At the very bottom of our website, it shows all of our retail stores. And I actually, on a little side job, I picked up a hobby, woodworking. And so I'm actually building all the retail tables that go in those retail stores.
Really?
So
That's neat. Yeah.
All the display tables that you see when you walk in, I've actually built those on my time off. So,
that's cool.
Yeah,
I have an organization here in Houston I also work with called FOB, F-O-B, Future Operations Base, and they teach veterans how to do woodworking and do car work and stuff like that. And that would be neat for them to get involved with as well. But yeah, they do a lot of stuff with woodwork and so forth too. But that's neat that you're doing that. Yeah.
I found it relaxing, especially during COVID. And I've always been mechanically inclined. My dad owned a construction company growing up. So it's all about the tools though. If you have the right tools, you can learn to do anything. So I started making things, and then they asked me one day, hey, can you make a display table? And I looked at it and said, sure. And then all of a sudden we have 16 stores. So I've been busy.
That's good. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got back from the military and I started working on my own truck. I bought a manual for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, because you learn how to use everything with a manual, you know, and
manuals. Never forget those things.
Yeah. And started fixing my own truck and everything. And it's like, it was really cool doing that. Yeah. But yeah, I loved it. So are they going to open up any stores in Houston area?
I don't know what our 2023 plans are. I know the last store I believe we're opening this year is Savannah. We have Savannah, Tampa, Destin, those 3 coming up, Fort Hood. So I'm not sure what next year's plan looks like, but as soon as I know, you'll know.
Is Grunstall hiring by any chance?
We have on bottom of our webpage, the careers page. I know our retail stores around the country are definitely hiring, always looking for new retail associates, and they'll post any jobs there that, whether it be up at our location that we still have in Carroll Stream, Illinois, or down here in San Antonio.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to put up that website right now, including, actually, there's your email address and the website that runs right there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So let's get on with your job. What do you do for Grunstall besides build tables?
Well, my favorite part of Grunstall. So, like I said, I got out of the Marine Corps 25 years ago, and I went right straight into raising 2 little ones on my own. And so I went into restaurant management. So for 20 years, I did restaurant management, just to, pay the bills, survive, take care of my kids. And I obviously was having trouble with a teenager back in 2017. And I made friends with some local cops, and they were Marines as well. So you're a service member, it's like you're instantly family. So we started chatting, and he was like the local patrol in my neighborhood, and he helped me get through a lot of stuff with my son to get him where he is today. And all of a sudden I didn't see him on duty anymore. And I was like, hey, I texted him. I said, where have you been? There's some new guy patrolling the neighborhood. And he's like, oh, I decided to, the stress of being, he was a Marine, and then he was a police officer, to take a job at Grunstall. I was like, well, what's that? I had no idea. And he's like, well, actually it's, and only 15 minutes from where I lived in Carroll Stream. And he said he's in sales for custom sales industry for 20 years and being a people person. He's like, why don't you come and interview? We're still looking for more people. We're fairly new at this. So I did. And I left the restaurant industry forever. Took a big leap. And I started, and then when they hired me, they said, well, just so you know, we're moving our headquarters to Texas in 8 months. So if you take this job, you're expected to move. And I was like, heck, get out of Illinois? For sure, sign me up. Both my boys were leaving for the Marine Corps, so I didn't really have any ties there anymore. And I said, sure. So sure enough, that, following July, we moved everything down here, and I came with them. And I've been there 5 years now doing customs. So originally we had a team. Well, not everybody could move down here. And then also we decided to restructure. So customs is the smallest department of Grunstall. But I call it the food department because what I do for me, it's more about taking care of our veterans, our active duty service members, our first responders, our fallen officers, any fallen heroes. So what I do for them is the custom department. I can make a shirt like I did for you. Their logo, our logos, a cool design, and they can use it for morale shirts. Like most of my customers are. There you go.
What do you know? Look at there. Eventually, yeah.
And that's one of the things we have them for businesses, for pretty much anybody that wants to co-brand with us and get the word out about their organization. But my main focus has been the fallen officers. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of that in the last several years. So what I do is I help the family create a memorial shirt for them. We put it on our website for 2 weeks, and within that 2 weeks, they can go on. Anybody can go online and purchase that in support of, and then we give back $12.50 of every fallen hero back to the family. So, and then other fundraisers like cancer fundraisers, or if you just want to do a fundraiser to raise money. Anybody that turns in a W-9, then we would give $5 back to that cause for putting it on the website. Or I have even landscapers that want shirts for their landscaping business because they're veteran owned and they support veterans. So they just buy in bulk from me. A lot of my customers, I've had customers call me from the middle of the night from overseas or in the middle of the ocean on a ship saying they want to design a shirt for their unit to remember that buy. And so that's what I do. I take care of our active duty, our veterans, our fallen officers, and anybody looking to make any kind of memorial shirt or just share with a veteran-owned business. We also have on our website, if you look at Honor the Fallen, we have a dedicated page for any fallen heroes that stays up there all the time. We put their end of watch there. I don't know if you can see that one.
That's really neat that you're doing that. Yeah.
So, and that stays up there. And it's been, for me, it's about making someone's day just a little bit better. Yeah. I have had several, but the hardest hit for me was 2 years ago. I don't know if you heard about the helicopter crash on our National Guard base in New York.
Oh, yeah.
It was a training exercise. Well, I was working with one of the soldiers on the shirt. Me and his unit would talk, for months. We were trying to design this shirt for their morale unit just to have a fun shirt. He always did these fun things for his unit. So, we would talk, we would chat, and, we'd talk about my kids, his wife, and in the unit. We got to know each other. And sometimes we'd have group chats with his other people trying to argue over the shirt. And I'll never forget, the day before we're about to finalize the shirt, he says, "All right, well, we have a training mission, so I'll be back in a few days. So if you don't hear from me." And I said, "Okay, fly safe." And the next day I got a phone call, one of his service members saying, "Hey, just want to let you know Christian was in that helicopter crash." And even though I'd never met them, I knew them just from, interacting. And it hurt. It still hurts. So what we did, this is why, they've, and no matter if it's the CEO and down, you're treated like family. Without hesitation, they said, "We're donating the shirts and you're going to the memorial." So they flew me out there for the memorial, and I met the face and was able to at least, give my condolences and meet them that I've heard about. And so it's a day I'll never forget.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
To this day, I still talk to his, we went to a big celebration afterwards at a Irish pub, because I guess that's where they like to go. And I got to meet the entire unit. And actually to this day, I'm still friends with some people in that unit, or they'll call me because of their PTSD and their issues that they have. They sometimes just want someone to talk to. And so I've made a lot of great connections over the years with these families. And like our webpage says, never forgotten. So sorry, I get so emotional.
No, it's all right. It's all right. So do I. I'm sitting there going, I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to get. I know.
Big bad Marine, and I'm crying.
No,
but,
it's. I understand completely. Yeah, it's like I can hear taps and I start crying. I hear bagpipes. I start crying. It's just. Oh yeah.
But that's why I do it, because I know that just that a T-shirt may not mean something to someone, but when it's something like that, they can remember. And if it makes their day just a little bit better, that's why I do it. And the fact that Grunstyle supports me 100%, they've been like an extension of the military. They're my second family.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And sorry.
It's all right.
So
It's all right. It's okay. It's all right.
You can tell I love what I do. I absolutely
No.
found where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm proud to work for them, that we can do so much for, not just customs, but, our foundation, and with, Tim Jensen, our co-founder, who went up and fought at the Capitol for Burn Pits 360 to get that bill passed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, him and Rosie Torres, and it's amazing some of the things that we do. We're not just selling T-shirts, we're selling I don't know. It's family. It's you have to be there. So
I've done a lot in my life with first responders and veterans.
Yeah.
For the past 17 years, I built a knife called the Patriot knife.
Right.
Here's some right here. These are ones used for cook-off or Camp Hope.
Mm-hmm.
PTSDUSA.org. Here's one I did for a Lone Survivor Foundation.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah, I built these all in my garage. No AC, no heating, and my family dates back to the American Revolution. I'm a veteran. My father's a veteran. And it just goes back way back. My mom's even retired from federal service and so forth. But I built these knives, and some of them raised $18,000 at auction. Some raised $450. But 411 knives later, it's quite a proud thing to do, but it's something I love to do. And then this past January, actually past November, I got a bad hole in my leg. I'm not diabetic. I have poor circulation in my legs. And I knew it was going to be a bad one because I've been dealing with this for 25 years. So I shut down my shop and moved it into storage, and I just continued doing coffee. But I'm still going to the Wound Care Center. I got an appointment tomorrow, in fact, at the Wound Care Center. I've been going since January to get my leg healed up, and I still have a small hole in my leg, and it just takes a long time to heal. Yeah. But they've got a new wrap they're using on my leg, and it promotes circulation, and my legs haven't felt as good in 25 years. They really feel good. So I'm actually going to get back into building knives again because I miss it so much. And that's why I started the podcast, was to use the time I normally use building knives to do something else, help out people. But I want to get back into building knives. But like I have this trailer I pull around for events and stuff like that. It's got red, white, and blue LED lights on it and so forth.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's the trailer I pull around. I use that after Hurricane Harvey. I put 15,000 miles on my truck and trailer going around South Texas, helping out veterans and first responders who lost their homes. A lot of first responders that were at work in that day, rescuing people, and their homes were destroyed. Stuff like that. But yeah, I know I love to help people. And, I tell people, due to my disability and dealing with pain, I have an addiction. And they say, "Oh, pain meds?" I say, "No, giving. I'm addicted to giving." Because it's the greatest feeling is when you give someone something and it helps them out, raises $18,000 at an auction. It's the greatest high ever. I love it.
Right. And then it helps you heal as well.
That's right. Yeah. So, I want to get back into doing knives again. I miss it dearly. So, but I used to do events, and I'd go out and sell shirts for the Patriot Knife. They'll pay for them. Mm-hmm. And I'm still sitting on probably 500 shirts.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I'm like, but I was like, I'm just going to, next time I order shirts, I'm just going to order Grunstyle shirts because it's got a name for itself. They do a lot in the community and a lot for veterans and first responders, and that's what I'm going to do. So. Yeah,
no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe I can help you, reach out to me because I'm like, I like to help. They always tease me, and how could you have ever been a Marine? I'm like, well, I've Marines have emotions too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great.
And
so
I didn't go through everything that a lot of other Marines did or service members, but I served my time and I've seen a lot. And like I said, I have a family of military. I watched my dad growing up undiagnosed PTSD, because back then they didn't take care of the Vietnam veterans.
No.
And, you know, it took him a good 30 years to realize and get better and get the VA to listen. So, you know, he's finally on the mend, and he just had spinal surgery from, you know, jumping out of airplanes, and had malaria twice and survived. I mean, he's just, you know, it's just, I don't know.
Is he up in Illinois still?
No, he moved to Indianapolis right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Indianapolis. So, but he's doing good.
Yeah. I have a co-host that comes on sometimes. She's Army Airborne. And she's hilarious too. This is a picture of her. She's parachuting over Normandy for the 75th anniversary, and she takes a selfie.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, that's a neat bunch right there. But yeah, so that's awesome. So your son is in film school?
He's going to study film study. Yes. Camera work, script and writing. He's always been interested in that since he was young. So just something he wanted to do. And I said, well, you know, as a single mom, I couldn't pay for college. And I said, and you've been in and out of trouble. I mean, I got him arrested when on a kind of a bogus charge, but I was a single mom. I didn't know what to do. And he was on this destructive path of getting into with the wrong crowd and drugs, because he was self-medicating from, you know, depression of, you know, daddy issues, abandonment. You know, his dad didn't see him pretty much his whole life. So I didn't know what else to do. So that's how I found that cop friend of mine. And I had a tracker on his phone. He had no idea. I was relentless. I was like, I am not going to let this kid, you know, end up in jail or worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got a tracker on his phone, and I got him arrested. We went to court, talked to the judge in chambers, and said, hey, look, I know this is not normal, but I want you to do whatever you can to help, because I don't know what else to do. I have no support. And then we put an ankle bracelet on him. So everybody thought he was like this hardened criminal. It was like a little dime size of pot that he got busted with back then in 2014. And back then it was still, you know, really big deal. But and, you know, getting him the support he needed, he got clean, got help, and he decided to become a Marine. And he needed to get direction. He said, I need direction. I need to know where to go, what to do. And so, you know, 4 years later, he's got a life plan. It's like a different kid came home.
That's great. That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. So he's got a neat story to tell, you know, growing up and everything. And when he becomes famous and so forth as a film producer or whatever.
Yeah. And it was funny when he was going to the MEP station to do all of his stuff for, you know, the day you leave, and they're giving him a hard time because they're like, because his place of birth was Cherry Point, North Carolina, you know, and he was born to be a Marine.
Oh, that's funny though. Yeah. So is his father still in the Marine Corps?
No, he retired.
Yeah. Is he in touch with them at all?
And there, he's trying now, but like my son said, you know, he's like 24 years too late.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he remembers some of the stuff we went through. It was a very toxic marriage. You know, I mean, I've forgiven him. Yeah, I've forgiven him now, but it was together. Yeah. Let's just say. And but Cody, my oldest, he remembers some things. So I think that's where he started with his teenage trouble, because he started remembering. And but my youngest, Sam, he just decided, I want to be a Marine because mom was. And so here he's the one that re-enlisted just now. So
that's cool. Yeah. So has he got 4 years in already, or?
He's going on his fourth year. So he just re-enlisted and last year to a Marine.
To a Marine, yeah.
Yeah. But I love her to death. They're They're a great couple. And I always said my youngest, Sam, was like an old soul. He's always been like a caregiver, an old soul. So they're happy. And that's all that I want for them. Whatever they choose to do to make them happy, that's all I want. That's all I could ask for, is that they tried. So
that's all that is.
Yeah. So yeah, that's, now I just got to wait to be a grandma. But I can wait a little longer. I'm enjoying my time. You know, I moved out here to Lavernia. It's just south of San Antonio. I work remotely, and found myself 3 acres where my dogs can run, and I can work from home and enjoy my boots and my chickens.
So Sam and his wife are on Okinawa now, right?
They're going in March. So I will have all my kids home for Christmas this year. So that's
good.
It's a first in a long time. So that'll be nice. And then they're all leaving.
Yeah. So that's really neat. That is so neat. It's so glad to hear Grunt Style is the way they are, you know, family oriented and stuff like that. You know, that's really neat. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you know, we're a young company and we're growing. And it's only getting better. And part of that is not just because we're there to make money. Obviously, companies have to make money.
Oh yeah.
But we have this thing called Beer 30 every Friday at 2:30. The entire company, whether it's through Zoom or in locations, all get together and we talk about our successes. We celebrate, you know, anniversaries, birthdays, what's going on with the company. It's like, it doesn't matter whether you're a screen printer or you're the CEO, all the information is shared. I could walk into the CEO's office tomorrow and be like, hey, I have an idea. Let's chat. You know, how many companies can do that? You know, because they've made it, the culture is, we're a team, we're a family, and we support each other. And I feel that 100%. So I've never worked with such great leadership. So it's definitely, you know, people should check out that website if they're looking to find a job, see if there's anything available, because it's been great. And I plan on staying here. I told my boss the other day, I said, here, I got 15 years till retirement. You're stuck with me.
So it's gruntstyle.com, GRUNTSTYLE.com.
Yes.
If you're wondering. And then if you have an organization or you're with a VFW post or American Legion or an organization, they want to use Grunt Style shirts, they can contact you through your website at corrine.macko Corrine Macko at gruntstyle.com.
Yes.
For those of you just listening and so forth. So Well, that is awesome. That is really neat. Yeah, I know about screen printing. 2019 I bought all the equipment and I was going to make my own shirts because I was tired of dealing with shirt companies. And I got 2,000 square feet of a shop and opened up the shop, and then COVID hit.
Oh.
So I started producing masks and printing masks and making masks, and oh God, yeah, I think I made over 5,000 masks.
Yeah, that was the time to do it, right?
Yeah. And then I got into the coffee business, because you know, it's funny, all the organizations that I used to donate knives to during COVID, they were hurting because they couldn't have their fundraisers. So I created coffee to help out different organizations. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you drink coffee?
I do. I right here.
I'm on my second, but it's a 22-ounce cup too, so it's quite big.
Wow.
Yeah. So, what kind of coffee you drink?
Right now, so HEB. Obviously, you're in Houston, so you have HEB, right? They have this Cafe Olé brand. It's like an HEB brand, the Mexican hot chocolate coffee.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I actually know the guy that makes their coffee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's out of Houston. Yeah. So, yeah, and then here's one of my coffees right here. This is named after my great uncle Foster's Run, because he was a runner in high school and college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was the one that killed in Okinawa, so I did a blend after him. And this coffee and other blends, I sent it to the USO at Okinawa.
Oh, wow.
For to give the Marines there to drink and so forth. Yeah.
Where do you sell your coffee?
lot of mom and pop stores and meat markets and so forth. The closest to you would be in New Braunfels at Russ Game Place.
Oh, okay. I used to live in New Braunfels.
Yeah. Russ Game Place is a big deer processing facility and smoke shop. They do a lot of smoked meats and all that. I used to do a lot of hunting and fishing events, and I'd always run into them at the events selling their smoked meats and so forth. But yeah, they're
Nice.
real good. Yeah, I have here's some other blends. I have my E4 Mafia Crazy Coconut, you know,
I bet that's good.
DD214 Alumni Bourbon Pecan. And then this one's named after a good friend of mine. Marty's Mountain is a straight bourbon flavored, 1st Infantry Division. There's a 100% rating, straight bourbon coffee, you know. And then this is a good one. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, hopefully, because who really wants to go to the VA? Apple flavored coffee.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I'll have to go check them out. Yeah.
I'll send you some. What kind of coffee you normally drink? You mainly drink that hot chocolate thing?
No, I'll drink anything. I like coffee.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually this morning I'm drinking my Stars and Stripes blend, which is a roasted cinnamon pecan.
nice.
Yeah. But
Well,
and
yeah,
actually just
Go ahead.
yesterday I sold over $1,000 worth of this to one customer, a retail customer.
Wow.
And they didn't ask for a discount. I'm like, hallelujah. I know. I was so happy to see that order. I actually called them to verify. Is this for real? You know?
Did you mean 1 or 1,000?
Yeah. So no, so they're using it for Christmas gifts for their company.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. So it made my Monday.
Right?
Yep. So yeah. So Bailey, my service dog, and I we're gonna pack up after we get off with you, and we are headed to Riverside, Texas, to Talent's Meat Market.
Okay.
It's a well-known meat market. If you're going up Highway 19 past north of Huntsville,
Mhm.
they sell my coffee there. And then from there, we're heading down to Huntsville, down to the Harts Veterans Museum. So if you're ever in the Huntsville area, I don't know, have you ever done anything with Harts Veterans Museum?
No, I haven't. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, that's probably someone you ought to get in touch with. I'll get you the information and the person that's in charge. But yeah, they would do well with grunt style shirts over there. They sell a lot of coffee. But it's a museum and it's a huge facility, and they have the Vietnam Wall that's the 80% of the actual size that's out there permanent. That one they were traveling around the country with, now it's set up at their museum now. And they have helicopters and tanks and Hummers and old Jeeps and everything all around there. But you walk inside and there's all the different branches and there's all the different wars and everything that you walk through and see. And I mean, there's parts of the facility that you get into that I know the far back left corner, they've got a display back there that you'll get chills.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ghostly. You're like, oh man, hair raised up on my arm. Bailey's hair rose up on her back. Like, you know, you can feel something in there, you know,
Right.
It's crazy. And, but it's a neat facility. It really is.
I'll
But they
have to
sell
check that
all veteran related stuff. And they sell shirts and everything, but I think they would do a lot better with grunt style shirts.
Yeah, we just this year we started in the Alamo. We have some custom shirts in the Alamo, so those are pretty neat.
Yeah. So I'm going to get together with some people in the organization that we go to for training our service dogs, and we're going to create a shirt for them, and we'll have grunt style do it.
Sure.
Yeah, for
Well,
them as well.
you have my contact info. I'm the one and only.
I do have it that. So yeah, I'm gonna be ordering shirts from you soon too, since sales are starting to pick up again. Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just in time for the holidays.
Right. I mean, t-shirts not that, it's kind of not that it gets all that cold in Houston, but I'm gonna order a few hoodies too, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing a hoodie today. And it's
I'm actually wearing one of my old shirts from Patriot Knife Coffee and everything, but it's this is actually a Carhartt brand shirt. Yeah. But yeah.
It gets cold here. Not like it did in Chicago where I grew up, but you get used to it. This summer was brutal. And like you said, working out there and no AC. I have sheds out back with no AC that I'm building these tables in. And I just finished the last set. So now I'm working on Christmas orders for people. But at least it's,
Yeah, I built some displays years ago for a pawn shop, and I did 3-level tier displays that are round with a 4x4 post in the middle, and I had to cut it out so I can lay some tracking in there to put the shelving on there and stuff like that. But it was a neat thing. I enjoyed building those. But yeah.
Someone's told me, they're like, you need to get a life. All you do is grunt style day, grunt style night. I'm like, it's what makes me feel good. So you worry about your life, I'll worry about mine. You know, I love building stuff, whether it's for grunt style or for anybody. It's just takes my mind off of, you know, everything.
Yeah. That's great. So I'm so glad to hear about grunt style the way they are. Yep. There's their logo right there. So by the way, I meant to ask you, I know the owners are veterans as well.
Yes, Tim Johnson, he's a Marine.
Yeah.
And we have several board members and, you know, all employees that are military. So it's as many as we can.
That's great.
But we also have a lot of great employees that are patriots, that are supportive of the veterans, or have veteran family members or support. So
that's great. So if you ever have anything big coming up with grunt style and so forth, and you want to promote it, just let me know and we can put it on the podcast again.
Okay. Yeah, we just started back up with our American Grit. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's our kind of like a not really a I guess podcast, if you call it. I guess I should learn more about that. It's new, where they go on and they share stories and talk about, you know, things that, you know, people don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
And then new coming up, we've got our Veterans Day Salute to Service. We're highlighting partners, organizations that we've assisted on November 8th. So they can go to gruntstyle.com to check out how to help the communities. And then we've got our holiday promos coming up. Check out our website and our social medias for that, because we've always got some holiday sales. And the rodeo's coming up too in February. So we're one of their sponsors, and we'll have a booth there at the rodeo.
Yeah. We got our big rodeo coming up in Houston as well. Yeah, I used to volunteer out there.
Doesn't it go to Houston first and then come to San Antonio?
It's always been San Antonio first, then Houston.
And Houston? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I remember for years that was always a conflict between Houston and San Antonio as to when they had the rodeos and all that, because I remember contestants used to leave the San Antonio rodeo and haul ass to Houston to compete in Houston. They turn around and go for a go round. They turn around and go back to San Antonio to compete again. Yeah.
It's like, why compete against each other?
Right. So they separated them and everything. And so, yeah, my lazy black lab, she normally within 45 minutes of a podcast, she'll get up and come over to me, and she's just laying on the floor like, I'm not getting up.
Yeah, my two are locked out of the room right now because I wanted them to be quiet.
Yeah. So Bailey, she'll get up and she'll hit her tail on the table, and everyone will hear it and everything. And actually, I had a camera set up with her, but I got to fix that camera too. But yeah, but that's awesome. So I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you for having me. You know, it's any chance I get to, it's not my company, but I'm the part of the family. I love what I do, and I love that I can help anybody's day just a little bit better. And I'm not just selling t-shirts. I don't even look at it that way.
Oh, you're selling a great brand that does a lot of good.
You know, and the experience that I have with some of my customers are very close. Just, you know, I've never met them in person, but I get emails all the time, you know, hey, what's up? How's your kids? I'm like, hey, how you doing? How's your kids? You know, it's one of those things that you just, to me, it's more than a t-shirt. It's the experience, and it's the, like, people intrigue me. I like to hear their stories and hear, you know. So, hi, Bailey.
She just finally decided to get up. She's laying on the floor stretching, like, you know. Yeah. So we go to school once a month at the the Rescue for PTSD, and we meet at the Tomball, the VFW post in Tomball, where you did the poppy shirts for.
Right.
Yeah, and they let us use their facility to train our service dogs. And there's anywhere from 30 to 40 veterans at each event and training their service dogs. So if you're a veteran and you want a service dog, and maybe you're on a waiting list to get one, and you really could use one, you can contact the rescueforptsd.org, and they'll either help you get one, or they'll actually help you in finding one, so you can start training it yourself. Yeah. And we have veterans that travel in from Waco, Dallas, and so forth, and they bring their dogs in once a month.
That's
and they
awesome.
teach you everything you need to know. And then you come back the next month, and you might have to take the puppy, AKC puppy, star puppy test. And then from there, you start looking at, they have a dry erase board set up with all the information of what you need to do between then and the next class. And then they have the Good Citizens Award certificate you have to take as well. And that's actually a yearly test. And Bailey just took it again recently, because this year I was hospitalized 4 times. And every time I got out of the hospital, I was extremely weak, and I had to start working out again and walking again. And I couldn't get her in there to train that much. So we missed out on almost a whole year of training. So she should already have her service dog tabs, but because of myself, she doesn't. And Sunday night, they actually did a test for public access, and we could have been there, but we had on Ty Cobb from VFW Post 2427 in Tomball, and we were promoting some events they have, and I didn't want to miss that podcast because they do so much for our organization.
Right.
Yeah, so she'll test next month, and I'm sure she'll pass, and she'll get her service dog tabs.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
We don't deserve animals, do we? I mean, they're just
they're the best.
I couldn't be here without my 2. I have a lab pit bull and a Catahoula leopard lab, and they're both rescues, but they've rescued me.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah.
I work with a lot of organizations that have horses too for therapy, PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some in the Houston area, Galveston County area, and so forth. They do. Oh yeah. So a lot of organizations. We've been on for over 50 minutes now.
Oh. That's nothing. People that know me will tell you I could talk for days.
Yeah, so can I. Yeah, but hey, once again, I appreciate you coming on. And I normally post up this picture at the end of the show. I put this up, never let them be forgotten. But I'm not going to do that today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put up my shirt I'm going to have made that has the same logo on it from Grunt Style. So these will be eventually available. And once again, Karina, I thank you for coming on and letting everyone know about the program you have that helps out organizations and so forth through Grunt Style. That's a neat program you have. And, it's so tough. And if you have an organization, you're trying to stock shirts and ship them all out and deal with postage and everything, this makes it so much easier for them to have shirts and have a well-known brand name shirt as well. Yeah. So thank you once again for coming on, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
All right. You too.
You've been listening to Vets and Coffee, the podcast. As you can see, veterans and coffee are Tree's passions, and we want to make a difference in the veterans community. And with your help and continued listenership, we'll do exactly that. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. See you next time on Vets and Coffee, the podcast.